What it do, y'all? Bread Tuck Rob, Bread Tuck Gang Forever. We value us, man. I'm on chapter 2. Haven't finished chapter 2, but chapter 2 of Suze Orman's action plan book. And we're talking about credit in this chapter, man. And what I've learned was after the recession, she talks about how everybody, before the recession, everybody, we had our credit cards, our limits were all beautiful. We were just charging, just buying whatever we want. But then after that recession hit, these banks were like, man, we can't trust everybody. So we got to review these accounts. All right. So check this out. Even if your credit was good, right? If you didn't fall because the max you can have as far as a credit score, FICO score is an 850. If you were between like 720 and 800, your credit score could have been, your credit limit could have been cut like everybody else's. Now, everybody else who was paying like the minimum on their credit card and struggling and everything, they got their stuff cut. They got their credit limits cut and the interest rates went up because the banks had to protect themselves. Now, watch this. Even if you paid your stuff on time, now, if you only paid the minimum due, you were looked at as a high risk. And I didn't know that credit card companies look at you as a high risk. Even if you're current and you have everything paid on time, you're looked at as a high risk. And credit card companies will cut your not your balance, because they want you to pay their balance, but they will cut they will cut your credit limit. Man, I don't know why it took me. They'll cut your credit limit. Now check this out. Suze Orman is like, hey man, a lot of people were using their credit cards as emergency savings. Nah, fam, you don't do that. Your credit card isn't a savings because that's something you have to pay back. Your credit card, you have to pay back and you'll have interest on that, okay? Suze Orman says you need to have an 8-month credit card stash, 8-month savings stash. Okay, your credit card, she's saying if you have this high debt and you don't have a credit card and you don't have a savings stash, she says pay the minimum and get that stash saved though. So pay that minimum on your credit card limit, but get that stash going, man, because she say that's more important than anything. You got to have that savings stash so that if they do cut your credit card limit or cancel you, but you still have to pay that balance, you still have money coming in. You still have money that you can run to because you can't depend on that credit card limit. And watch this. Suze Orman said that credit card companies can raise your limit at any time, okay? But they have to give you 40 to 60 day notice. That's if you're paying the balance on time. So if you're not paying on time and you just doing whatever, they could just up you at any moment. They could do what they want with you. You ain't paying on time. But if you handling your business, they send you notice and let you know so you can make a decision like, oh, hold on, I need to figure some things out. And Suze Orman says that, credit card limits and everything, credit card companies, banks and all that. It's best to have a credit card through a credit union, which I didn't know that. I'm with the credit union, but I didn't know that. Get you a credit card through a credit union because the most they can charge you on interest or your interest rate can't be no higher than 18%. Everywhere else, store credit cards, bank credit cards, man, they 30%, 40%, whatever they want to do. But by law, credit unions can't charge you no more than 18%. And she says if you have a high credit rate, if you're just deep off and you just in the pits of hell and you have a high credit card balance with no savings and everything, because she keeps going back to that 8-month savings. If you don't have that, see if you could get you a credit card through a credit union. And some credit card companies will allow you to transfer credit and they'll give you an interest rate, but only on that credit that you transfer. They'll give you a lower interest rate only on that credit that you transfer. And she's like, man, pay that off as soon as possible. But if you charge new charges on that low interest rate may not apply to those new charges. So y'all have to be mindful of that. And she also speaks about debt to credit ratio, which I never paid attention to because I just make sure I pay my stuff on time. But for example, whether you have one credit card or you have a bunch of credit cards, If you have a credit card limit of $10,000, now this could be one credit card or all your credit cards. If you had $10,000 and you owe $2,000, your debt to credit ratio is 20%. You want to keep that low. Now watch this. Here's the kicker. If you have, let's run with that same example. You have $10,000. You have $10,000 credit limit. If a bank decides to cut your credit limit and now you have $5,000, they cut you from that 10. Now you have $5,000, but you still owe $2,000, which was once 20% when you were at $10,000. Your credit to debt ratio is now at 40%, and that affects your FICO score. So Suze Orman says, get you another credit card with maybe a $2,000 limit or whatever that makes sense, and don't go crazy with it. Don't even charge nothing new. Just transfer. The whole thing is just to add more credit, okay? Transfer one of your existing bills that you're paying every month on your credit card to that new credit card and keep it moving, because you want to have that wiggle room. But that's what it is, man. I'm still in chapter 2. We're talking about credit, Suze Orman's action plan. Bread Tuck Gang forever. Bread Tuck Rob, we value us, man. I'll see y'all soon.